the boxing world is abuzz with anticipation as the September 2025 Super Bantamweight Championship clash between Naoya the Monster and Murajan Akhmadaliev draws nearer, a matchup that promises to be one of the most technically brilliant and strategically complex fights of the decade. This highly anticipated bout represents far more than a simple title defense. It's a collision between two elite fighters at the absolute peak of their powers, with the extended lead time until the fight allowing for unprecedented levels of preparation and refinement that could produce a true masterpiece of the sweet science. Oscar de la Hoya, the legendary 6th Division champion turned promoter, has been studying this matchup with the intensity of a chess grandmaster, recognizing the myriad subtle factors that could determine the outcome when these two masters finally step into the ring. His analysis reveals a fight that transcends the typical champion versus challenger dynamic, instead presenting a fascinating study in contrasting styles, strategic adaptation, and the relentless pursuit of perfection that defines boxing at its highest level. By September 2025, Inoue will be a 32-year-old champion, potentially entering the phase of his career where his otherworldly physical gifts may require supplemental support from his ever-evolving ring IQ and technical mastery. The Japanese Phenoms team, led by his father and trainer Shingo Inoue, has historically demonstrated remarkable ability to reinvent their approach between fights, as evidenced by the dramatic improvements in defensive responsibility and counterpunching precision in no displayed following his first bout with Nonito Donaire. This extended camp provides an even greater opportunity for refinement, with De La Hoya speculating we may see an even more sophisticated version of the monster, one who perhaps fights in more measured bursts, employs advanced feints to disrupt rhythm, and utilizes increasingly nuanced footwork to control distance against the dangerous southpaw challenger. The extra time also allows Inoue's team to conduct exhaustive study of Akhmadaliev's tendencies, potentially developing customized counters to the use's most effective techniques while shoring up any minor defensive vulnerabilities that could be exploited. For Akhmadaliev, the additional year of preparation may prove even more valuable as he enters what should be his absolute physical prime at 30 years old, with ample time to address the slight technical deficiencies that cost him in his controversial split decision loss to Marlon Topples. The USA's team now has 18 months to craft the perfect game plan, an eternity in boxing terms, with particular focus on maximizing the advantages presented by his southpaw stance against an opponent who, while brilliant against all styles, has faced relatively few elite-level left-handed competitors throughout his dominant reign. Akhmadaliev's Olympic pedigree and amateur background provide him with the fundamental tools to implement complex strategic adjustments, and De La Hoya notes that the extra time could allow him to develop new wrinkles in his attack, perhaps specialized angles of entry, improved inside fighting techniques, or a more varied body attack designed to slow Inoue's relentless forward pressure. The mental aspect of this prolonged build-up cannot be overstated either, as both fighters must maintain peak motivation through multiple training camps while resisting the temptation to reveal too much of their evolving strategies during what will inevitably be an extensive promotional tour. De La Hoya's technical breakdown of the matchup reveals a fascinating clash of styles that could produce one of the most compelling strategic battles in recent boxing history. He envisions early rounds where Akhmadaliev uses his educated footwork and sharp jab to control distance, potentially banking rounds by landing the cleaner, more visible punches while avoiding Inoue's devastating counters. The middle rounds could see Inoue gradually solving the southpaw puzzle, perhaps by doubling up on his right hand, or employing subtle shifts in stance to create better angles for his vaunted body attack. The championship rounds may then become a test of will and endurance, with Inoue's systematic breakdown of his opponent's resistance facing off against Akhmadaliev's ability to maintain technical discipline under fire. This phased Progression of the fight mirrors some of boxing's greatest technical showdowns, where the ebb and flow of strategic adjustments creates a compelling narrative within the ring. The physical dimensions of the matchup present their own intriguing dynamics that could significantly influence the fight's outcome. Inoue, while not particularly tall for the division at 5 feet 5 inches in, possesses extraordinary reach for his height and leverages it brilliantly with his piston-like jab and whip quick combinations. Akhmadaliev, standing slightly taller at 5 feet 6 inches in, must find ways to capitalize on whatever minimal size advantage he possesses while avoiding the temptation to stay at mid-range, where Inoue is most dangerous. De La Hoya emphasizes that the use's success may depend on his ability to fluidly transition between fighting long when advantageous and quickly closing distance to work inside where Inoue's power could be somewhat neutralized. The body attack will be particularly crucial as both fighters possess devastating weapons to the midsection. Inoue with his signature liver shots and Akhmadaliev with his thudding left hands to the ribs, making the battle for torso positioning a potentially decisive subplot within the larger fight narrative. Beyond the physical and technical aspects, De La Hoya highlights the psychological warfare that will inevitably develop during the extended build-up to September 2025. Inoue, typically calm and composed, will face increasing questions about his age and whether he can maintain his otherworldly dominance as he moves deeper into his 30s. Akhmadaliev, meanwhile, must combat the narrative that he's simply the latest challenger destined to fall before the monster's might despite his own impressive credentials as a former unified champion. The promotional tour could become a fascinating battle of wills, with each fighter attempting to project confidence while carefully guarding any hints about their evolving strategies. De La Hoya draws parallels to other great prolonged build-ups in boxing history, noting how the mental toll of